everybody, and welcome to A Better You, your one-stop shop for everything self-improvement, self-discovery and self-care. Today is slightly different. So a few weeks ago, my daughter Harper, who is only 18 months old, woke me up in the middle of the night and she just would not go back to sleep. And then my older daughter Maddie also had a nightmare. And so I just kind of gave up, and it was about 5:30 in the morning, and there has been a day in the past that I woke up randomly, couldn't get back to sleep at 3:30, and so I decided to try do 100,000 steps. And I managed it that time, and I thought, it's been a while, I kind of need a new challenge, and it's worth a shot. And so I started the day that you're going to see documented right now, which is my journey to try to get 100,000 steps in a day for the second time. Enjoy! It was at this stage I realised I might struggle to get the steps in time, and so I did some quick calculations just to make sure it was even realistic going for this specific goal. So you can see here, this is my 100,000 steps minus the 20,000 I'd done, divided by my pace, and it was still going to take me a whole lot of time. So I kind of had the expectation I wouldn't be finished until 10 o'clock, which was a joy. And then walking in the corridor and a spider joined me. And the worst thing is, I don't really know where the spider went, so I just had to get rid of my cup of coffee just in case. You can also see my hands at this stage started swelling, one of them worse than the other, as I carry my phone in one hand and watch YouTube videos when I'm walking. So the poor hand that didn't get carried up for YouTube got fat quick. You can also see a sausage roll there, because I was hungry. And by this stage, my legs were murdering. By this stage, we were at about 6 or 7 o'clock, and I was a good proportion of the way through. Harper was helping me walk there, super helpful, and Amos took the girls out for a bonfire, and I just kept walking, and it hurt more and more and more. And genuinely, I don't think I've ever felt pain like this in my life. And I have 2 daughters. This is a super quick break because I'm now very much on the cusp of missing the time if I don't keep going. But I am at 75 thereabouts thousand steps. I've got 4 hours to go and we are at the finish line, which is thank God because my ankles are aching, my knees have given up, my hips are about to break. This is painful. Apparently, all of the spiders in my house decided that they would come out and join me for this walk, which was a bit disconcerting to be honest. I would have preferred that they'd have done their walk inside the walls, to be honest. And I did it! Yay! So a quick breakdown of how I felt during that and how I felt after that. So at the start of the day, I wasn't really certain whether I would do it or not. And to be honest, I hadn't really committed in my mind yet as to whether I would make it through the 100,000 steps. I ended up making the mistake of posting it on somebody else's YouTube video, which I'll link below, and told them that I was also looking to get my 100,000 steps. And at that stage, that made it impossible to give up. So wise, but also stupid, depending on how you look at it. And so I kept going and kept going, and I was behind time at some point in the day, and so I was really quite struggling. I think I put that clip in there where I was having a moment and I was sat calculating it in my mind and thinking, you're never going to get that today. But I did. The hardest parts through it were after 20,000 steps, which is close to where I got on a daily basis anyway, convincing myself to keep going to the 100,000 step mark was a challenge because obviously you're not that far in, it's easy to quit. So, you know, that was the key first hurdle. And really early in, my ankles started really hurting. And I was worried that if I kept walking, then obviously I'd have ankle issues down the line. But I kept going. And the next, I suppose, key part was probably around the 60,000 step mark. So I'd managed to get myself to that stage. And at that stage, you're halfway through. And it's too late to quit. It feels like a failure if you quit at that stage. So I kept going, but by this stage my ankle had sorted itself out, but my hand, you can see through the video, had swollen up ridiculously, and my back had really started to hurt. And I have Ehlers-Danlos anyway, so my joints dislocate randomly all the time, and it distinctly felt a bit dangerous. But I kept going because I'm stupid. And around 75,000 steps, my husband took the girls out and they had a little bonfire in the garden to give me some space. And I kept walking and kept walking, and it's that last quarter. But then I'd also sat and realised that that last quarter would probably still take a good 4 hours, which by the time it was 7 o'clock was a struggle to keep going. But I kept going, and Amos took my youngest daughter out shopping while my oldest daughter slept for those last 2.5 hours. And I just kept walking and it hurt. And you can see right at the end there, I put some rugs on it, some blankets, should I say, on the floor. And that's because my feet by that stage were burning. It's like I had walked on hot coals all day. It was so painful. And it was that last 10,000 steps. But again, 10,000 steps doesn't seem that big of a deal in comparison to the whole of the 100,000 step day. But actually, if you sit and work it out for my pace, that means it's still over an hour and a half long, which when you're feeling that tired and in that much pain is a long time. Kept going. I suppose honestly, that last hour, those last 5,000 steps were probably the hardest of the lot of them. You would think you would be into it by that stage. You would think you would just be going for that final sprint. But an hour is not a sprint. An hour is painful. And so I kept walking and I was falling everywhere and just like clumsy and achy and everywhere hurt. But I did it, and second time got 100,000 steps. So what I would say, if you put your mind to something, and this is definitely a mental challenge, the 100k one, then you can do it. As long as you wake up nice and early for the 100k step challenge, if you give yourself around 6,000 steps an hour maximum, probably 5,000 towards the end of the day, then that puts you with a realistic notion of how much time it's going to take. You need to be up at 3 or 4. So I really pushed it by doing the 5 o'clock one, and I would definitely wake up earlier next time. But that said, at the end of the day, when I sunk into that bath, it was amazing, and I felt so fantastic for having done it again. And to be honest, if you're feeling a touch out of control in your life at any stage, it's one of those challenges that if you can set your mind to it and actually go through with it, it takes your power back. It gives you that control again, which is really fantastic. So that was my 100,000 step day. What I would ask, after 100,000 steps, that has to be worth a like and subscribe. Please like below, please share the video if you know anybody doing the 100,000 step challenge, and please do subscribe for more self-care, self-improvement and self-discovery content.